Might be something. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Wednesday, Reclamation. Um, I'm kind of just fast forwarding through things because last week we lost a little bit of time and we ended a little early. So I want to get as much time as we can this week, especially since I have tomorrow off. So that means I also get to be irresponsible and stay up later. So, recap. I didn't ask before I hit the button. Who wants to do it?
I can do it if others are not willing to volunteer. Okay, cool. I'll do it.
Thank you.
Last time we had a dinner party. There was a bit of preparation beforehand. Roz had to clear up the misconception of what was going on with her, or she felt she needed to, and was told that she does indeed have a bit of the merc in her, and that she should probably be careful around paladin types. Audie and Lilith both got dresses. I think Audie's was a more successful dress getting than Lilith, but it's all a matter of perspective. They both got beautiful dresses.
Mm-hmm.
And Corona, it took some talking to get Corona at dinner, if I recall correct.
Yeah,
she
just
wasn't
a little bit
keen on it, but people were like, hey, you probably shouldn't isolate yourself forever. And in the end, everybody showed up, if slightly overdressed and slightly uncomfortable. But they all got there, had a lovely dinner. It was lobsters for dinner.
All kinds of
lemon
things.
Cake for dessert. Shenanigans ensued because not everybody was familiar with lobsters. And, dinner conversation, people got to know each other. It was exciting. The party learned that it's going to be, I'm sorry, I don't remember the mercenary group's name, but it's going to be this mercenary group that goes on the mission that we did not complete, to face the merc.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was kind of agreed that as an after-dinner treat, we'd all go watch the Black Butterfly perform. And I think that's all I can remember.
Anybody have anything they want to add?
Yeah, two things. One important, one not. First, it's the Immortal Bastion. It's the name of the mercenary group. And equally important, definitely, is that now one of the NPCs knows the identity of the Black Butterfly. A privilege that very few have ever been given before.
Yeah, one NPC knows. Not, a whole village of NPCs.
Not a whole
No,
village.
not the whole village. It's not the worst fucking disguise possible.
Anything else? Okay. Yeah, succinct. Thank you, Ben. In which case, let's start a little further back because it's very ironic that we had Ben do the recap, and Ben is the one who was not here last week. Would you like to just clue us in as to what Titan was doing while everyone else was at dinner?
I think the best explanation would be that Titan was handling some town business. I suspect there were some people getting ill in the village, and they weren't entirely comfortable bothering the healers in the camps.
Mm-hmm.
So they've requested some doctor's appointments with Titan, and so he could not make dinner.
Very good reasoning. Okay. Very well. In which case, the party has gotten up from the table at the Immortal Bastion. They've been gifted with cake and extra food to take back to the Greenwood citizens back on the other side of the camp. And several people have been rallied and mustered to head towards the Dusty Daisy to partake in the performance of the Black Butterfly. Is anyone doing anything out of the expectations between the camp and the tavern? Or just
Titan will grab
It's-
Lotus,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll both go to the performance.
I was gonna say it's super okay if you have things to do, guys. Like, take your time. No worries.
I haven't missed a performance since I got to Greenwood. I'm not going to start now.
Yeah. How dare you even consider?
Working at the tavern had its perks.
Probably the greatest unbroken streak of anybody. Let's be honest.
Yeah, probably. We don't need to start a competition over it, but I think Titan and Lotus would have seen a lot of performances, but it would not be on broken streaks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well. Party members, along with members of the Immortal Bastion, head from the mercenary side of the camp towards the center lane, where many of the independent businesses have space set up. The largest of which belongs to the Dusty Daisy Tavern, a pop-up tavern that has come to service all the hardworking soldiers and their families here at the Hunters Camp in the south of Saphinus. Given the time of night, it is quite busy. It is quite riled up. There are, given the camp size, probably close to just over 200 people here, which is a lot. The Dusty Daisy is part outdoor patio, part interior with a wooden foundation constructed to have a large canvas overhang. There's a single long bar against one side of this big square, which behind it actively are anywhere between 5 and 8 bartenders. And people have observed whenever they've ordered food or goods that weren't drinks, people vanish down a set of stairs behind the bar and come back up with the hot steaming food or offerings that they have asked for. The tavern has done well to employ various people from the western side of the camp, the refugees that have come here to be food runners, waiters and servers, along with just any work that the place needs just to keep going. So a lot of family members of various different groups are here, as we've run into with an NPC previously. When the large part of the party arrives, in the thick of it, there is on the northern side. Hang on, get my bearings. No, the southern side of the tavern. So the bar wall is on the north side, and the southern side of the tavern is where there is a wooden platform that has been built and erected. It is raised about 6-7 feet off the ground. Steps on the back side. There is a small area where there are a bunch of instruments arranged for various people to come and perform. Melody, in a previous session, went and spoke to the owner of the Dusty Daisy to get her name jotted down for an opportunity to perform. Or rather, at the very least, for someone of some repute from the village she's from. Perhaps too shy to do it herself. And that evening slot is quickly approaching. There are people that are mingling, bustling shoulder to shoulder, drinks. There are several standing tables where there are no chairs to speak of, where people just have plates of food, and they're sitting there with friends and family and just even occasionally strangers, and just kind of passing by the end of the night after a hard day's work at this camp, either coming from or somewhere nearby to support it. When Roswin, Lilith, Corona, and Melody, you ran off earlier, right?
Correct. I was encouraged that I should go make sure there are seats for everyone.
Correct. That's a good question. Does Melody actually do that? Or was that just the excuse?
I think she would see if it's even possible, but she knows the tavern gets busy, especially later at night. Like, actually rounding up a spot might not even be a realistic concept.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't really empty seats. The evening time for the tavern is just so packed. They don't even reasonably have enough tables to have people have places to stand or sit. They had to recently have several more of these standing tables erected just for the sake of people being able to have places to put plates down to enjoy themselves. In which case, when the rest of the party arrives, Corona, Lilith, Roswin, with the whole of the Immortal Bastion in tow, you see that it is packed. Like I said, people are almost shoulder to shoulder in a lot of places. There's currently a three-piece band that's playing, something jaunty with a little bit of fiddle. And it's just kind of brought up the atmosphere. People are enjoying themselves. You realize as you were all walking, kind of trying to find a place to be comfortable towards where the entertainer stage is based off of your general understanding of what's going to happen. You do notice that a lot of the people from the Immortal Bastion seem to be well acquainted with a good handful of these fellows here, dozens of them. They get nods, people call and wave, and several of them are just spend times, smile, wave back. Some will even sort of kind of branch off and depart from the main group and go talk to other individuals. And so when you guys head towards the entertainer stage as a collective group, mostly now, you do see that while tables aren't readily available, Lucilla and Lucius don't push for them either, but people do happily make room for them as they kind of find a sort of situated spot near and around the entertainers area so that you all can have a good view of the stage. Is there anything any of you would like to do?
Yeah. So seeing that this place is fairly crowded, and I don't know that we're used to places that are this crowded, I think Roz's protectiveness instinct is kicking in just a little bit, and she's staying really close to Lilith, and she's kind of eyes down, mouth shut.
Okay. Kind of go on, Gwen.
I was going to say, for her part, Lilith appreciates it because the crowd does make her somewhat uncomfortable, but she seems like she's wanting to bear it because she wants to see the performance.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, for Roswin, it is worth mentioning, partway along working through the crowd, probably in reaction to your closing in, which is very contrary to your typical demeanor, especially when in smaller groups. It doesn't take very long before Lucilla kind of loops an arm in through yours, and she's kind of hugging herself pretty close to you. She's still beaming, looking at people. She seems quite enthralled by the energy here, which you perhaps even notice kind of once you sort of connect to her and see what she's doing, and she seems happy, and she looks at you to make eye contact and acknowledge and kind of like look around, and she's like, "Whoa, this is crazy." Very pointedly, Lucius is right in front of both of you, as if there's always a shield standing in front of her, which you realize they probably don't often come to places when they're this busy.
I think with Lucius being there, being a literal wall, and Lucilla being there, arm in arm, smiling. Roz can't help but smile and just kind of relax a little bit. And even kind of not grab Lilith's hand. Kind of looks like she's going to do that at first, then remembers not supposed to do that. I'm going to be fine, don't worry. You look uncomfortable. Just stay with us.
Right. She seems a bit more relaxed having basically a giant wall in front of them.
Sort of the advantage to going with the Bastion is that, again, most of their members are on the larger side, and you're not quite observant enough to maybe make notice of the fact that there are about a dozen of them. Some of them did peel off, but there seems to always be about 4 or 5 of them sort of orbiting around where Lucilla is. It isn't like a VIP detail where, you know, they're bodyguards and, you know, black suits and shades. They blend in a lot more casually than that, but you can definitely tell if something were to happen, they'd be within arm's reach real quick. Corona, anything from you?
I think, since it looks like the group is fluctuating a little bit, but we have at least the core members of us 3 and then them 2. I think Corona's just going to ask, because she's not too put off by the crowd or anything. She doesn't seem quite like at home or anything, but she's just like, yeah, it's a rowdy tavern, so what, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's just going to casually ask the group that's with her, 4 of you want anything to drink that I should put on the tavern?
Absolutely and always. Just get whatever's cheap. Anything you want.
Me? Well, I'm asking because I'm gonna go get some.
You're going to get it. You don't have to pay for it. How about the rest of you? Lucilla, Lilith, Lucius. You could probably drink an entire barrel.
Alcohol doesn't affect me anymore, so I will pass.
That is absolutely no fun.
You just see him give you a big shrug. But then sort of behind you, a shadow casts from one of the overhanging magical lights, and Timber, the bear-influenced wildling, comes up behind both, you know, where Roz, Lucilla, Lilith are, and just kind of casts a shadow. I was going to go get something. I know all the regular orders for the Bastion. I can help carry everything else for you.
Well, it's mighty kind of you.
All right, then. You and me, let's go.
All right.
We'll be back.
And Corona will follow.
Mm-hmm. And Corona and Timber will go elbow their way into the bar to go order drinks and probably some snacks. At some point, probably a little bit before this, because of less hectic surroundings, Titan and Lotus would have arrived. What's your plan of attack for getting into this busy tavern? Anything worth mentioning?
I mean, it's one of those things where, yes, it's busy, but a dragon eye of Titan size can usually get where he wants to go anyways.
It's true.
So I think him and Lotus are posted up. They probably would have tried to get themselves a table, to be honest, because neither of them have had dinner yet.
Sitting table or standing table?
Whatever's more available.
Definitely a standing table.
Okay, they'd grab a standing table then, and order some food. And I think Lotus probably talked Titan down from having too many drinks tonight and getting in a fight that he can't win.
Probably.
but he'll still have a gin with dinner.
Oh, respectable. Okay. Like I said, with your arrival a little bit earlier, you could have had meals brought out. Given the way of your mercenary work, you have at least one free meal for yourself. Are you splitting it, or do you wanna get one separate for Lotus?
Nah, we'll buy a separate one for Lotus.
Okay. A full dinner meal and a drink is going to run you 3 silver.
Okay, I will mark that off. Silver. There we go. Starting to run low. We need to go on a job. Make some money.
Soon. Okay. How about Ben? You just roll me a. Do you just want to randomly determine if you find a good spot, or would Titan apply a little pressure if he wanted to get an appropriate table?
He would apply a little pressure.
Okay.
Nothing crazy, but you know.
Yeah. Your choice. You can either make like an athletics check or an intimidation check. Either can be applied with strength.
Okay. We'll go with athletics, I think. And it's a 14.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it wouldn't take you very long when you get there. Again, it's busy, a couple of minutes. You find a good standing table that has pretty good like central access to pretty anywhere else in the Dusty Daisy. A good slight oversight look of where the stage is, and being near enough to it to be able to hear the band that's currently playing, so you know that is near enough for what is to come. And likewise, you wouldn't have to be too far away from the bar if you ever want to go perhaps refresh your drink. All it requires from you is when you're there, and there are a couple of people there, and you could tell they've probably been one or two, there are a couple of drinks deep, and they're not exactly completely there. All it takes is a good firm squeeze on one of their shoulders for them to get the clue, and they and their drunk buddies go to walk off their drinks.
All right. Good to know.
Now, in this bustling tavern filled with many people from all different parts of this side of the continent, all different jobs and careers, mercenaries and civilians alike, the band on stage, the 3-piece band, is finishing up, and the song comes to a close. A lot of people offer polite claps and applause. There's a couple of plinking coins that land in a there are several buckets in front of the stage as people kind of flick coins into them, tips for the performers. The band takes their bow, and they step off. And then shortly after, as you kind of can watch from various perspectives as those band members put those instruments back, you will see a bright green-haired gnome walk up onto the stage, holding a clipboard and some sort of small contraption in his left hand. All right, ladies and gentlemen, dragons, lizards, and all the other above, please give a warm thanks and applause for the lovely Tyrant Trio. Next up, looks at the clipboard. We have a special treat for you. All the way from the northern woods of the Emerald Isles, from a secluded, lovely town of Greenwood, a rare and ephemeral singer, a performer only heard of in tales and legends of those who travel the dusty roads of the north. May I present to you the Black Butterfly? And with that, Valman just kind of bows and then backs off the stage, as it seems as if he's found a job at this tavern as well.
yeah, butterfly!
There are a couple of claps and
rowdy
cheers.
cheers. Yeah.
Krona, you're coming back with Timber with a large platter of drinks and snacks, and you just sort of catch a small interaction as Valmond does this introduction. You see a lot of the Greenwood folk, you know, overly clap and yell and cheer for someone that they know but don't know. But then you do catch a moment where you're coming back and you're getting back to the central group of where the immortals are. Of Lucius look over his shoulder and you see him just give a nod to the rest of the immortals, and they kind of join to the same volume as the rest of the other people of Greenwood. And it kind of becomes infectious, and a lot of other people being clapping and cheering, welcoming the Black Butterfly onto the stage. And now we wait.
All right. And now we wait. So I'm going to start with just saying that last week we had audio issues where microphones cut out. So I'm going to hope this gets through. But yeah. The illustrious Black Butterfly will sweep out onto stage. Take front and center. Kind of stop and collect herself. All right. Well, thank you for that lovely introduction. Certainly never thought that I'd be greeted so far from home. But of course, everywhere we go, we take a bit of home with us. And every time we do, we always bring a story. And when we share a story with you, you share a story with us. And the whole world becomes kin. And so tonight, I'm going to favor you with the story of the boy that I met in the harbour of Harbour. And she starts, her heels will start like tapping a beat, just because, as we said, she doesn't have a band, nor does she have a piano, nor anything else. So we're going a cappella. I saw him there bright morning time, moored up right by the bird. He said to me the sweetest things mine ears they ever heard. My honey lass, dear bonny lass, your eyes they rival to see. So won't you come to me, my dear, to dance a jig with me? With courage plucked, my skirts out tucked, to all I'll gladly sing. That I met a boy in the harbour, and I don't harbour a thing. I saw him there near evening tide, the moon not in the sky. He swore to me right up and down, the stars they cannot lie. My honey sass, dear bonny lass, my arms they ache, you see. So won't you warm my bed, me dear, and dance a jig with me? My heart beat fast, my cheeks they blush, tight to his arms I cling. Lords, I met a man in the harbour, and I don't harbour a thing. The next I went, the winds blew west, I saw a maiden there. And what's I hear down by the shore, from his own lips to hear? My honey bass, dear bonny lass, your eyes they call to me. So don't be shy and don't be coy, come dance a jig with me. A foolish doe, it serves her right, what truth the day did bring. Well, I met a boy in the harbour, and I don't harbour a thing. Some would claim a lover's kiss is better than the sea, but I cannot agree with that. A cod kiss might better than he. Well, I met a boy in the harbour, and I met a man in the harbour, and I met a boy in the harbour. I met a boy in the harbour, I met a boy in the harbour, and I don't harbour a thing.
Is that the end of the song? Are we allowed to cheer now?
You're allowed to cheer now. But yeah, through the whole thing, her dance would kind of flow side and ramp up as the emotions change, and as it gets to the end, her feet just start moving faster and moving faster. And she stops with like a loud kick of her heel at the end to punctuate it. And, you know, arms tossed in the air, panting. And gives a bow. And of course, if there's room for a set, she'd probably have 2 or 3 more songs that she has prepared. So, because she has her set, of course, she's done this in Greenwood.
Of course.
And now the player actually has to go and record that properly. Ah,
Someday. We'll get you there.
someday.
Seriously, beautifully done, Kate.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Oh, it was
Yes,
so good.
yeah.
I'm so
Paulson's
happy.
game. Good job. It was excellent. Like, amazing. I'm speechless.
Oh yeah, and I didn't let Dyer listen to me practice. I practiced while he was out.
Oh.
He
yeah,
hasn't
while I
heard
was at
this.
work. Yeah. So, yeah. This isn't going to determine how people will react to it.
This is the performance check.
Yeah, but would you roll me a performance check? I mean, don't worry. You could basically force this to work. You've got inspiration.
I do. But with a nat 19, why would I tempt fate?
That's wise.
So that's a 25.
That's really
Oh,
good.
no. Yeah, performance 25.
Yeah. I mean, I think your dice are being a little too picky, but yeah, all right. The 19's good. In between each song, in between each set, the Black Butterfly is incredibly well received. I think there's a bit of the influence from the various villagers of Greenwood amongst the members of the party, but also several of the others from the camp that have kind of eventually trickled their way in or have been here the whole time. Do well to rile up the crowd in response to various points. People begin dancing, and it doesn't take you very long before you see there's just a shower of coins thrown towards the buckets, some not hitting their mark, to which you see one of the various tavern boys or girls come in and help sweep them up and toss them into the bucket. And by the end of the set, when it is clear that you have finished, before you even get an opportunity to like properly dismiss yourself, there is a rumble. It's maybe initially a bit alarming for some people, but even under your feet, Black Butterfly, and all of the other members of the party, the ground vibrates very lightly. And it is done so in response to several people of all around the other party members that went to the dinner party, from members of the Immortal Bastion clapping. And Roz, you would notice that Lucilla is using a slight bit of magic to help make their applause quite literally earth rumbling. And it brings up everyone else to do the same. They cheer and clap, and they continue at it for a little bit until you're well and gone.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, maybe about 5 minutes later, Audie runs in, all puffed and cheeked.
Mm-hmm.
What are you all are? Did I miss it?
She's-
And
Audie,
she
you
and she
missed
gives
it.
a wink.
You missed the show. I've had a couple.
What then I suppose I should be catching up then. I'll be right back then. And Audie will head to the bar.
Yeah. You head to the bar, get a drink for yourself.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it's what their selection. Any ciders by chance? I don't know if I ever asked.
They do. They have ciders.
Great. And she's going to get herself a cider in celebration.
When you go for a drink, you order, again, hustle and bustle. But when someone comes back to deliver your drink, it's the same wildling that you spoke to originally, and they plant it down in front of you with the tips of their claw fingers on the edges of the mug, and they kind of lean over. That was a mighty fine performance. Make sure you give my well regards to Mrs. Butterfly. Have them come back anytime. Oh, also, since you're probably going to be the one to see her, give her this. And then reaches under the counter and plops a very heavy satchel of clinking coins in front of you.
Turned away, and I think she went back to cup to rest. I'll give it to her.
Appreciated. Okay, do me a favor. Roll a d12.
Okay. It's in here somewhere.
Somewhere.
A 5.
A 5? Okay. In the bag is 100 silvers. Which is
Nice.
no small chunk of change.
No.
Damn, screw adventuring. Just do this.
If the tavern wasn't rowdy before, it is now. Valman introduces another performer. This is a two-piece band with a singer. And perhaps taking inspiration or just wanting to ride the wave of the Black Butterflies, they begin playing a very similar style of music to which the tavern takes well to. Audie, do you return to the main part of the group?
Yeah. After she gets her drink, she'll turn around with her arm full and head back to the table.
You'll come back.
Hi, Audie. Audie, you didn't see it. It was such a good show, though. I wish you'd seen it. I wish I could tell the Black Butterfly what a good job she did.
I'm sure you'll get your chance one day.
Uh-huh. It's okay. No one here knows it was you, except him.
Lucius is staring at both of you.
He knows.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's really good at lying for a paladin.
And Audie's just smirking and like wiggles her fingers at Lucius, like, hi.
He just nods.
No, I think that the butterfly set off a bit of a trend because all the music feels very familiar. Do you want to dance, Audie? We got to show everyone how it's done.
But I would love to dance.
Let's dance. Come on.
And Audie would absolutely sweep out into any space there was for dancing.
There is, in fact, a dirt dance floor. As a matter of fact, it's part of how the tavern got its name, because when people dance, the dust kicks up. Well, you aren't the only pair that heads out. Several members of the Immortal Bastion, along with close to 3-4 dozen other people, are out there. The band, again, like I said, was taking advantage of it, and people are just dancing. It is wild, it is loud, and it is fun. The night is still mostly young. How would you all like to spend the remainder of your night?
Well, I think Roz, for one, is going to get sloshed and spend most of her night talking Lucilla's ear off.
Mm-hmm.
because Lucilla seems eager to listen to whatever bullshit Roz has to say.
She is, yes. Anything revealing?
No, not without prompting questions. Roz gets drunk a lot.
No, that's fair. Well, she's a good listener, and she's eager to keep you talking. So she does ask questions, but she's not probing. All right. That's what Roz is doing. Drinking, dancing, talking.
I'm going to say it's probably very similar to what Audie's doing too. She's taking this opportunity to kind of celebrate a bit before they venture on their next mission. And try not to think about the fact that these lovely people that they've just gotten to know are going on the mission tomorrow. And hoping it all goes well for them.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
if at all possible, she might actually try and convince Lucius to dance, or at least needle him enough, like, through the night. Just be like, but you'd love it. Come on, you'd really love it. And take his no in stride if he says no, but, like, clearly teasing after that, you know. Not actually, not trying to persuade him if he actually says no, you know.
Yeah, fair, sure. Give me a persuasion check.
All right. Modified 19 in total.
Okay.
It's not the worst. But again, he has to want to, right? There's no convincing of people.
I will admit that I am not against the idea, just that our height difference concerns me a little is all.
So if I could convince you that I could dance with somebody as tall as you, then you'd be fine with it, then.
I suppose.
And she gives a grin and you know, a wink, and saunters over to where Titan and Lotus are, and just goes, you know, Lotus, may I borrow your lovely husband for a moment?
Let's cut a rug, kid. You missed a hell of a show.
And you off to dance.
Yep.
Just do me a favor. Let's see how well you convince Lucius. Both of you roll performance checks. We're gonna take the average.
Oh boy. You know what? For the sake of this, I might use one inspiration and reroll that.
Hey, nothing wrong with it.
It wasn't awful, but
I mean, if I may,
okay.
and advocate on behalf of Audie
Uh-huh.
for a particular goddess who would have very much loved this performance.
Uh-huh.
Can Audie please have advantage on this check?
No
before
problem.
Bill smiles down upon her.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just take the two rolls that I rolled as the advantage.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a performance of a 16.
Okay. Still pretty good.
Still pretty great.
Titan got performance +0. Not too far off, but a 13. He's not as good a dancer.
That's still not bad. Again, you know, we're not trying to strive for the, you know, the big huge numbers yet. That's still a pretty generous 14 all combined. But it's important to note that, I mean, you both just enjoy yourselves.
And I wouldn't mind rolling some insight after.
Sure, just throw the check for me.
Oh, she's not insightful. That's a problem. That's a 7.
Yeah, fair. It's not that you're not insightful, it's that you're enjoying yourself. You're pleasantly distracted. Even with your initial intentions here, dancing with Titan and in this atmosphere, it's a good reminder of home. You know, things are a little bit normal in this moment. You know, in this little microcosm that the Black Butterfly has created for the party. Nothing's happening outside the drawn lines of this tavern, and so you get to enjoy yourself, and many other people do. All of which is bemusedly observed and enjoyed by a particular title bearer. When you're done with your little jig, are you going to go approach Lucius again?
Yeah, and kind of cocky, just kind of like, see, I won't get underfoot.
I can't promise I can dance as well as the Dragon Eye.
Well then, as long as you don't step on me, I can make you look good.
He looks over at his sister. His sister's shoving him from behind. Very well. And he gives you a quarter bow, and then he extends out a hand. Miss Melody, would you do me the honor of having this dance?
Of course. And she'll take his hand.
Mm-hmm. I think just for everybody who's interested, roll another performance check.
Oh boy. I just don't want to embarrass him. That one's going to use my inspiration. Okay, so it didn't matter. I rolled the same thing twice. It's a 12.
Okay. Well, if it makes you feel any better, apparently Lucius is making you look a little better.
Oh, awesome.
He rolled a natural 17. And while he is not proficient in performance, he does have a certain level of charisma, so he does have a total of a 21. So he might not be he might not be a classically trained dancer, but there's definitely something to his overall instincts and ability to be around people and to read situations, both in the moment, and perhaps a little bit of his instinct from his combat training that does lend him well to dancing in this kind of frenzied area. And all while making sure that you remain perfectly safe. And it's not as awkward as you thought it would be.
Mm.
Anybody else? Anything worth noting? How you spend your night?
I think Corona is more than happy to appreciate the extra space once people get up to dance here and there. She'll stay at the table, but she feels satisfied with the night, and she's not looking to dance either. So unless if someone approaches her for it, she's just going to sit back and have her drink.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Lilith will finish off her drink and watch her friends go off to dance for a little bit, and then excuse herself politely to head out. Just kind of take a breather outside.
Decompress a little. You'll catch a little voice inside of your head, Lilith. What is the party scene, not your scene?
Oh, I'm fine to have fun. I just not the best with big crowds. Not in cramped spaces, anyway.
And here I thought my influence would have kept you there a little longer.
It got me to have a drink.
I will concede that is at least something. And when you're not with your not girlfriend, you are less prone to drinking.
Anyway, Star should be coming out soon. That'll be nice.
Yes, a wonderful night. As a matter of fact, if you were perhaps interested in a little fun, if you could go find that deck of cards you brought back from my home, we could do a reading with it.
Sure, that sounds like fun. I think it's with my stuff back in the tent.
Well then, lead the way. Let's go have our own fun.
I think I'd be concerned if you were leading the way. She's gonna start walking.
Well, if you ever get tired of doing the walking yourself, I'm more than happy to do it for you.
I feel like it wouldn't make a difference. It's still my legs.
No, you wouldn't have to deal with the mental exhaustion of it.
I'll consider it if we have another mission where we're walking for 8 hours straight.
Well, just know my offer is on the table.
Off she goes back to camp.
Mm-hmm. Chrono, Lilith, Roz, Audie. Highlights for Titan.
Yeah, I mean, I think Titan goes and dances with Lotus a few times, has a couple more drinks as he's getting a bit riled up with much cooing and stroking and whispering.
Scales bristling.
Lotus, yes, yeah. Lotus convinces him to leave the party before he gets a bit too rowdy.
Wise.
Yeah, nothing, important. He's just enjoying his night. It's, a bit of home he was worried he lost forever, and it's just really nice to see other Greenwood residents celebrating and enjoying themselves, and people watching the black butterfly again, and it feels really nice. He's really happy, really excited.
Nice. Okay. Well, in which case, Lilith, would you like to go do some card shenanigans?
Sure.
I mean, totally not weird shenanigans.
It's just a deck of cards. What could it do?
Nothing untoward to you at all.
He's digging for his.
Yep.
He's digging for his deck.
I am. I don't know where I put it. Give me a second. Floating around here somewhere.
Card loading. Please stand by.
Yeah, honestly, I actually don't know where I put it.
I think I do.
Why do you know? Hang on, I hear Kay running over. She's looking. Please stand by. You just turn that light on, Kay. Well, it will. That's why you're going to turn it off when you leave.
Flashbang dire.
Wasn't that bad. Keep staring. Yep. Stick with you. No. Because this one's fuller. Thank you. Well, I have found it.
I suppose I could have been narrating what Lilith was doing during all of this, but she gets back to her tent, kind of digs through her bag a little bit to find the cards.
Yep.
And is just going to sit down cross-legged in the tent because she doesn't want to just lay them out in the mud. Kind of clear space, light her lantern. She has a bit more light. And from there, she's going to follow Callista's instructions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Lilith, I'm going to teach you something about this. First, when you reach for a deck of cards like this, you need to have a question in mind. Since I'm teaching you for the first time, I'll let you have the question. There's something you want to know about?
Anything at all?
Anything at all. It can't always be exactly accurate, but it can give clues. So the more difficult to answer the question, the more uncertain the answer is going to be.
Why don't we start simple and just ask how our next mission's going to go?
Very simple. And how simple of an answer do you want?
I'll leave that to you. I assume, based on some things I've heard, that it's a different type of reading based on how much you want to know.
Correct.
Oh.
If we add more cards, you can understand different facets of the mission. For instance, it might tell you if you're going to meet an unlikely ally or a characteristic about them. It might tell you about your enemies. It might tell you about where it is or a unique challenge you might face. At least it could prompt you to have a revelation that could help prepare you for something yet unseen.
How about a medium-sized reading?
Very well. We'll do a 3-card spread. Now shuffle the deck, but don't treat this deck like you're playing cards with friends. Treat it with respect. Handle it delicately. Think about the question you're going to ask as you shuffle the cards.
You will pick the deck up and shuffle it carefully while focusing on her question.
Make a just a flat charisma check, Gwen.
6.
Mm-hmm. You're sitting there, you're shuffling. Callista's really worked with a lot of these principles that are foreign to you. You're still working on that extension of self to better understand and control the part of the amulet that controls the ghosts and where they live, so you can kind of affect them indirectly. This one is the same, except before, when guided, you at least got a little tether that helped you understand what the feeling was you were looking for. This one doesn't feel very different to you yet, even though you definitely know there is something to the cards. But after you shuffle for a couple of moments, Callista will tell you to stop, and then lay out 3 cards left to right.
Set the deck down and place the cards in order. Mimicking what she saw on the table back at her house.
Mm-hmm. The cards have been dealt. All right, Lilith. Now, put your hand over the first card and consider for a moment how you are feeling about your current circumstances, about the potential of a future mission, about the outcome you desire. And when you are ready, flip the card over.
Take a few moments, get her thoughts in order before flipping it over.
Let me quickly find it. Flipping.
Wow, how did you draw 3 death cards?
Wait, this is weird. This has never happened before. Lilith is
Why
back.
is this deck all death?
It isn't normally. That would be a very alarming sign.
Can't believe Kay swapped out the deck for a fake one.
She was the one to touch it last. This could go catastrophically.
She bought 50 copies of the same deck just to put the worst cards. You wouldn't notice.
I would be very impressed at the dedication for the bit, honestly. Ah, there we are. You see on the card an individual garbed in fine elven clothing, black trimmed in gold with intricate embroidery done around the edges. They appear to be a traveler. They have a walking stick with them that's worn and weathered, but well cared for. They stand overlooking a valley. Trees dotted and blooming pink and white. There's a winding river that goes towards the mountains in the distance. Enormous mountains, towering and high. Lilith, I won't even make you a roll. You do realize this card is done from a particular spot somewhere in the capital Saphinus, looking towards the Titanhorn mountain range to the north of the city. You recognize the mountainscape. There is a sun setting behind one of the mountain's peaks. White wispy clouds intersect over top of it. And soaring in the distance, a beautiful, majestic gold-scale dragon. Lilith, what does this card make you feel? Is there anything that when you were looking at it that came to your mind first?
It reminds me of home. The figure makes me think of my father, actually. They look like a traveler, and I recognize the mountains.
And how do you think this is related to your upcoming mission?
I think it could either mean that it'll be close to home or far from home.
These cards can be quite fickle, and that they will never provide a clear, concise answer. It is your ability to read the impressions that the cards give you when they were first drawn that is the most important part. And on occasion, the further you stare at the card, the more you delve into it and consider it, you might be able to find hidden secrets therein. Your initial impression is a good one. It is not a coincidence that you've drawn a card that depicts a vista that you're so intimately familiar with, nor that it depicts an individual that reminds you of someone very dear to you. While it does leave itself unknown, you know you will be in a place that might be known to you, but not familiar. And even more so, it could be a place previously traveled by you yourself or that of the person that it made you think of, your father. There are a bunch of other implications in this card. Some that might not make any sense right now, but perhaps with other cards might make more. For the next card, Lilith, consider. This one is usually good to consider an aspect of the mission, something specific. Perhaps a question that you would like to know about something that is still yet unknown to you. Something more specific, like if you will meet a friend or a foe. Or perhaps an obstacle that you might face. When you've considered that, and you are comfortable, flip the card.
Once more, she'll place her hand over the card, take a moment to really think about it. You know, she's not pretending this is all a game or anything. She's taking it seriously. And she will flip the card, thinking about what the party's greatest obstacle will be on the next mission.
Okay. And I flip the card. Hang on. Finding it. There we are. I'm also going to hold the card up to the camera for anyone interested. Especially since the way the slots are cut out for people, the cards fit perfectly in them. When the card is flipped, Lilith, you see on the card an individual garbed in fine clothes, red like blood. From head to toe, everything seems to match. They sit in a plush, luxurious chair with a cane of gold. Their face is masked, something made of silver or pewter, something intricately made with details carved into it. They wear a dark hood trimmed in gold to hide the remainder of their features. They clearly sit in a space that is similar to the refined tastes. Trimmed in gold, patterned in a fashion of those of wealth. Arches of high doorways, lights of magical natures illuminating a long hall in which they sit. After you've had a chance to observe it, Callista will then ask again of you. And when you flip this card, Lilith, what did it make you think of? How did it make you feel?
This one didn't come as quickly as the other, but to me, the mask and the fine clothes almost make me think of a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like something will become an obstacle that we didn't expect.
Good understanding. Whenever you see someone wearing a mask, you can almost always assume that the mask has a purpose and that there is also another purpose hidden underneath. For you to be able to see that it could imply that something that you have believed to be something that is static, that is predictable, could change, a variable that might abruptly alter. This mask could be worn by a person. It could be worn by information given to you that changes when you arrive or changes partway through, where something that you are relying on is supposed to go a certain way but then doesn't. Hold close to that information, to that impression. It is often the one drawing the cards and the impressions they first get that hold the most meaning. But I would likewise be wary of a man wearing a fine suit. When you are ready, move on to the next card. This one is the card that will punctuate the reading. It could be a reflection as to the outcome of your mission, something that occurred during it. It could likewise be a clue as to where the results of that will lead you to. Likewise, it could be related to the surroundings in which you return to at the camp. Consider. When you've thought about that future and you are comfortable, flip the card.
She will flip the card.
And I flip the card. Oh, hey, I just saw this one. Card for the camera. Depicted on the card, an individual garbed in heavy plate armor, wearing a tabard, carrying with them a holy symbol in one hand and a shining hammer in the other. The energy radiating from them is in the shape of the sun. Behind them, high archways with blinding white light filling them behind, banners of red hanging above and beyond them. They stand resolute and firm, someone that looks like a veteran of hard times. Okay, Lilith. And what of this card?
Maybe it's just the recency of it, but the figure makes me think of Lucius. Big, imposing, stalwart, but someone who wouldn't be taken down easily.
And how do you believe it to be related to your mission?
I think that it might be a sign that things will end up okay. That we'll be able to brave whatever's thrown at us. And that everything will still be fine when we come back.
Well, if I have anything to say, Lilith, I think you're a natural at this. I will advise. Do not trust in the divination of these cards too greatly. As I've mentioned before, they are fickle. But as long as you continue living the current life that you are, they will, for the most part, never steer you incorrectly. Next time, if you happen to go secure my beloved hat and do a reading with the cards while wearing that, there can be a boon granted at the end. Just a little food for thought.
I'll keep it in mind. This was nice. It reminds me of trying to draw meaning from the stars.
Very similar. And an art unto itself. As a matter of fact, I spent quite a few years of my life learning from, well, at least one half of your ancestry in regards to divination. Perhaps one night I'll tell you about that, old Oz.
I would be happy to know more. They weren't named Eldrin, were they?
No, they weren't your father.
Okay, because there was a non-zero chance.
They are travelers by nature, so it's not unheard of. But I would be honest with you right now, at the very least, if that were true. You're young enough. You could have been my daughter.
Well, I'm fairly sure. Wait, are you an elf? I don't feel. Did I ever ask that? I thought you were. I assumed you were human, but
Why make such an assumption?
I don't know. Are you gonna answer or?
You don't feel like Callista's going to answer no.
Bellathar, has she told you?
No, she hasn't.
Well, damn. Maybe one day I'll be able to see you clearly enough to get the answer for myself.
We can work on that if you'd like.
I was just going to say, we still got some night to burn before, I slip into a trance. Might as well continue training what we've been training.
Might as well give it a shot. You have time since we've sequestered ourselves away.
She will gently pack the cards away. Get into her meditative pose and just try to focus on that feeling.
Mm-hmm. You get comfortable. You focus. Callista gives you some meditative instruction to get you into the right mindset. And then make a charisma check.
Natural 20.
Wow. Nice. Perhaps the cards were a good warm-up. But as your subconscious kind of drifts and you find yourself back in that gray world where everything was sort of white noise, static, you found the small tether that you were able to hold on to. Now as you've closed your eyes and you've focused, listening to Callista's voice and instructing you, there is a point where finally all of that white noise clarifies. There's still fuzzy edges, but there are now whole parts you can see. And kind of within that realm, this mind realm, you can observe that there are two distinct separate lines, strings, if you will, that are sort of there. When you've arrived, you will hear Callista's voice, and you will watch as one of these strings vibrates. Now that you've found this place, it is time for you to practice what it is you intend. Right now, you don't have a physical form. You need to imagine something in which you can use to interact with this space in here. Choose a form for yourself. Could even be something as simple as just a hand or your whole self, whatever is comfortable.
To focus, just kind of imagining herself, trying to will her full self into this space.
With the 20, I'll let it carry over. And eventually there is this sort of washed white profile of Lilith, hair and all. And you're sort of floating now that you've given this yourself shape, and it is your whole self. You're in this space, and you realize that these strings, by comparison, feel quite large to you. Now, you're going to want to approach Bellathor, the other existence here that is not the one currently talking, which I think will help you distinguish which is which. And it does.
She'll float towards or try to will herself towards the string that is not moving.
Mm-hmm. It's weird at first because it's your body but not your body. The space it's like trying to learn how to swim for the first time, which is already, tough. Perhaps not fond early memories, maybe flashbacks to careening down a wild white water rapids. But eventually you get a good semblance of control and you arrive. And when you are there, your mind is sort of shaping this thing in front of you, and the string, you realize, there's a lot of light emanating from it. And as you get closer, you realize you begin pushing into the light, and eventually you just find, in fact, a small, thin string in the middle. Something that you think you could pluck and it would resonate a sound. Now, to achieve your desire, you need to make contact with Bellathor, and you need to exert your wish onto his existence. The more you get caught up in the various aspects of this, either your concern for doing this to Bellathor or your uncertainty in being able to achieve this, the harder it will be. When you are ready, make contact and exert your wish.
She'll spend like a minute just preparing herself, kind of mentally making sure she isn't going to get in her own way.
Mm-hmm.
She will reach out and just gently run a couple fingers along the string. She tries to do what Callista told her to.
Okay. Another charisma check, please.
17 for a total of 18.
Okay. You reach out and you make tentative contact. And in this mind realm you've created for yourself using this whole, form that you've generated to represent your existence, there is a sensation that tells you that this existence that you're now in contact with feels thin and snappy, kind of like a taut instrument string. You can sort of feel it over the edges of your fictitious fingertips, and you sit there and you consider that you just, what exactly is for Lilith in this moment the wish she is exerting? Because I know we've talked about the purpose of it, but what exactly is the way Lilith is considering it in her mind?
She wants to be able to block Bellathor from experiencing what she is experiencing for a time.
Okay. You reach out, you make contact, you consider and focus. Your concern takes off a little bit of edge, but there's a moment where the string resonates. There's this slight twang that kind of ripples through this gray space, and instead of that overwhelming light that you kind of worked your way into and towards to discover this thin existence in the middle, it is suddenly encased. It is now almost a perfect cylinder of light, of which you can now see in the center the string has turned into this contrasting black string, and it seems as if the light is being contained around it, much by comparison to the rest of this space around you. It feels distinctly separate. Very good. Bellathor is not currently in contact with you or I. The hard part now is going to be maintaining that, especially if it is going to be while you are distracted. This is where practice comes in.
Right. First step done. Gotta get better at it.
Correct. And you are a fast study. You'll pick it up pretty quickly.
Well, I always did like learning new things. And I can imagine this will be very helpful if I ever end up picking up a spirit that isn't so friendly like the two of you are.
That is a very real concern you should have. Not all of them will be as stoic as Bellathor or as bubbly as I. And when that time comes, you will face a difficult decision. Honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
I'm glad that my potential suffering gives you amusement.
Can you blame me? I have to try to find some way to be entertained while I live in this nominal space in between death and life.
I must be your favorite non-fictional book.
That is a good way of looking at it, yes.
Try not to say reality television. Right, we're here. We might as well practice while we're still here, right?
For as long as you can. It will be exhausting.
Oh, it's a good thing that it's late then.
Yeah. Make a charisma check and then make a constitution check.
I'm going to use inspiration for this charisma check. Better. Total of 15 on the charisma check.
Okay.
You said he constitutes in check? Well, doesn't matter, I'm not proficient.
I did say constitution check, yes.
Gonna use my second inspiration on that. Much better than the 2. That is a total of a 17 on the con check.
Okay. You do this, you continue focusing. You're able to maintain the effect. You're not exactly sure how long this realm's time versus your real life time is. And perhaps you might need to find a way to keep track of that via probably an hourglass to figure out exactly how long it is for you to do this sort of work and how long it is you're buying yourself time. But you do it. And after that next stretch of time with the 17, it hasn't taken a toll on you yet, but you are beginning to feel the effects of how quickly this is going to overtake you in terms of exhaustion. given that this is such a foreign concept to your general, well, existence even. You seem to be kind of honing in on it. I think we're just going to give you an assumed time. After a certain point, you are going to kind of find yourself snapped out of it. The barrier that you've erected will break. And it will be up to you whether or not if Lilith stays in a state in which she is trancing or if she wakes up first before needing to essentially go back to properly rest.
I think she'll just transition straight to trancing.
Okay. Slipping from one state into the next, you find rest for the night. I'm keenly aware of our break time having arrived, but I just want to ask so that way we can, if I need to know for any other preparation, is anybody doing anything else of particular note this evening? It's okay if you say yes.
I had a thought in my mind, but it would really be like a 30-second comment on the way home kind of thing.
No, you could literally knock that out right now. Ain't no shame.
We can do it when we get back. Like I just
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I think Roz is going to walk Lucilla back to her camp before going back to her own. Wherever may come of that from a drunken Roz.
We'll find out after the break. If no further specifics needed, and if there is, feel free to just leave a note in chat or in a DM, and we'll come back after 10 minutes because we're gonna go on a break. So we'll be right back. See you soon. Welcome back. We've returned from our slightly extended break. Because dogs love attention.
make
So-
sure you always dust your daisy.
Yeah, fair. Can't argue with that. Ben?
No, I'll leave it.
Yep.
I thought better of it.
I feel like we had the same brain there.
Well, it's wise that you didn't because we are being recorded.
There will be evidence of it, so just be aware if you're okay with that being attached to you on the internet forever.
That's why I thought better of it. We're good.
Okay. I will admit I'm a little curious now, but that's okay. I don't need to be.
That's right, you don't need to be.
I'm not gonna be. Well, we're in fact gonna look towards the other party members and the remainder of their evenings, and if there are any highlights that aren't, drink, enjoy, hit the hay. Do we have any brave volunteers?
Well, I'm always willing to be brave. Does anyone want to take the spot before I jump in?
I was gonna say I think mine might like help yours a little.
Great,
Because
then
what
do yours.
Okay, because what Hani was going to do is probably when things feel like they're winding down, she's going to step outside a little to kind of just cool off and wait for people to wander out. And kind of when the immortal bastion starts like trickling out, she'll catch Lucius' attention on his way through. Because she knows he's usually fairly attached, like goes where his sister goes, or they're like always together kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing how attached she was to Roz throughout the night, she's gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna let them have a chance for conversation, and I'll try and draw his attention away for a bit.
Okay.
Specifically on the walk back to camp kind of thing.
Okay. Are you trying to stop him from walking at all, or are you just like walking with
Oh,
him and trying to just draw a conversation?
Yeah, more walking with him and drawing a bit of a conversation. I guess shortly after. I suppose the question is, when he leaves, would he be leaving like with a group, or would the camp kind of trickle out?
Um, some of the people have kind of broken off. Like I said, someone to go dance, someone to go converse with other friends that they've made. Um, but it always tends to be a small core of Bastion members that have kind of stuck around. Notably, and very difficult to miss amongst them is Lucius and Timber, usually still orbiting somewhere within or around Lucilla.
Okay. Then Audio, she'll wait outside until she sees them go to leave, and then kind of fall into step with them.
Yeah, but it's not difficult. The Bastion members have kind of, partially been corralled. Only about half of them are returning to camp.
I want to thank you for playing along. Means a lot.
Yeah, no, not a problem. I don't really get an opportunity much to do that. And to be quite honest with you, it wasn't really something I was brought up ever expecting to do either. Where we're from, dancing isn't super common.
Well, the dance was quite appreciated, but I might prefer that with the singing. I know secrets don't seem to really be in your nature, so I appreciate it.
He gives you a pretty nonchalant shrug. It's a harmless lie. One that your friends seemed very eager to maintain. I don't have a reason to destroy whatever it is you all have amongst yourselves for that reason. It's not threatening me or my sister, so it's fine.
No. That's the best way to look at it, yeah. We all try to find a way to use our gifts in the most harmless way possible.
In an ideal world, that's true.
Nothing wrong with an ideal world.
Yes.
Just knowing that it doesn't exist sometimes.
In my general experience, more times than not. If you don't mind me, if you don't mind me asking, what is the whole alternate personality thing about?
And she's a bit, she's kind of a bit pensive for a little moment as they walk along, keeping step as best she can.
Well, if you don't mind a bit of a story from me, I'll make it quick.
I'm listening.
When I was a child, I got afraid of my voice. I said something to someone and they acted out of without their own will. Made me afraid. Thought that I could control people, and I didn't like that. So, putting on a costume made me feel brave. It allowed me to speak with with my full voice. And the reason I do it is because if I'm going to control people, I'd like to control them to have fun and forget their worries and be in a happy space for just a moment. So that's all it is. Just a place that I get to be me, that I get well, that maybe I can affect the world for a bit of good.
Admirable. And how are you doing since you've come up with that alter ego? Has your situation improved at all?
Not until coming to this camp, actually. You never want to think that your world collapsing is a good thing. Don't know where my dad is, don't know where my brother is. But there's training here.
Hmm.
I thought it was a curse. I didn't know that it was magic. So I'm getting some training here. By the White Cross Company. They're helping me with it. So I suppose one day, maybe, I'll feel confident to talk proper again. I think the Black Butterfly will stick around though.
Well, if there are more shows like that, I think you can probably expect to see more of the Bastion show up.
I'll leave you to the asking next time. I won't make you dance unless you want to.
He smiles at you and gives you a nod. I appreciate it.
And by this time, she's also grinning. Like I said, going through the story, she kind of got a little sad, but she's back to smiling.
And I wish you luck tomorrow. I know it's not in the luck, it's all in the execution, but I think if anybody in this camp would do it, it's gonna be you. You and your mates. So hope to see you back in a couple of days.
We appreciate the concern. We'll come back. We've stared down worse and come back. We'll do it again. Meanwhile, somewhere up ahead, Roz and Lucilla, there are Bastion members kind of, speckled about. Their formation isn't as tight as it was earlier. Lucilla's still kind of hanging off of you, Roz. Still smiles and giggles and bright eyes.
I think Roz has been insufferable and obnoxious the entire time. But as she's nearing the camp and has some actual time and space between her and the other members of the Bastion, she kind of bumps into Lucilla kind of the same way she does with Audie a lot. The shoulder bump, the playful nudge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm amazed you've been sticking with me all night long.
Is there a problem with that? Should I not have?
And you invited me to dinner, and you're concerned about my well-being for tomorrow, going to see the tyrants, and you're concerned about my well-being when I showed up at the camp. There's something you're not telling me? Or are you just that nice?
I will admit this isn't very different from how I normally act.
Okay, I trust you.
That's perhaps a little too hasty since we've just recently met. But I'll happily accept it.
Except what?
Your trust? And your
Yeah, I
friendship if
trust
you're
you.
willing to give it.
I am. You didn't drink much, did you?
No, not a whole lot. I think alcohol tastes gross.
Well, that's okay.
You certainly drink enough for both of us, though.
I do. Ever
Mm.
since I awakened, it turns out I can drink way more with no hangovers.
What a fun boon that is you've discovered.
Oh no. No, I hate the fact. I I don't want it at all.
You would rather be tremendously hungover?
No, it's the awakening. I didn't want it. I wanted to earn it myself. And now it feels like it's been foisted upon me and now it's a responsibility. And I didn't want that.
Mm. I unfortunately can relate.
You can?
Mm-hmm. Where we come from, my brother and I, and a couple of the others, when we're born, literally not minutes after born into this world, we are given to a stranger, and that stranger tells us what we're going to be and do with our whole life until we die.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mm. And some are more fortunate than others. Some are born like my brother and are put into a life that demands of them everything while promising and giving to them nothing but a lot of pain and burden and sadness. So you're in light company.
It doesn't make me feel better, though, knowing that there's other people in the world who were forced to carry a great responsibility. That just makes the world seem a little worse.
Perhaps, but consider it this way. Because there are others, and if you manage to find those others, and if you manage to find others such as myself and Lucius, the times when that burden that's been thrown upon you becomes a little too heavy, you know there are other people around that are capable of helping you shoulder it for a little bit so you can get better.
You're wise too? Oh, you're wise and kind.
I'm cheating a little bit.
Are you?
Kind of.
How?
Voices in my head.
Your voice is in your head.
A single voice. But yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's more complicated than that. It's like my own voice, but I think it's like my voice from the future, where I've learned a lot more things and suffered a bunch more, so I have really great advice to give. And it's not always there, but sometimes it tells me things that are relevant, such as right now.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know anybody who has a voice in their head like that. Which is a lie, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Lucilla believes you, though. You're apparently her blind spot.
And Roz is kind of wavering for a second. She holds up a finger and says, nope, that's not true. I know one person, but I can't tell you.
Okay.
It's private information. It's not for me to share.
Mm-hmm. Well, as long as you and that person are okay with that information and nothing needs to be done about it, that's fine.
Nope. Nope. I don't think so. And if something were to be done about it, I'd have no idea. Absolutely no idea. And that may or may not drive me insane sometimes at night when I think about it, but I don't think about it that often, because thinking about things makes them real.
Is that thing that you're not talking about the reason why you drink so much?
No. No, maybe. Unrelated thing I don't talk about.
Hmm.
All right. Well, before this becomes a little soup, me spilling my guts to someone who definitely doesn't deserve that, I probably ought to stumble my way back home.
I could walk you back to your camp. I'd prefer to know that you got there safely.
That's so nice.
I get that a lot.
Mostly from me.
So far, a lot today, yeah.
Okay, you can walk me home.
Okay, well, that's about face, and we're going to take you home. Wherever that is.
This is that way. Roz is kind of pointing vaguely in a direction. Audie! Which way's home?
And Audie will look over her shoulder and point. It's that way. Do you need an
That way.
arm?
I got an arm. See? I got 2 arms. Anyway,
Good enough.
back to the camp with the drunken Ross.
Mm-hmm. And you are certainly taken home. And put to bed. And tucked in. And left with a pitcher of water next to your bed just in case.
Very wise.
Mm-hmm. And with a bucket.
Also wise.
Mm-hmm. I dare assume Audie will similarly trickle in behind Roz.
Yeah. She would actually, oddly enough, similar. Well, I guess without the literal putting someone to bed part. She would walk with Lucius to the entrance of their camp, and be like, well, then, I suppose I should go make sure that Roz actually made it back. Though I'm sure your sister would make sure that.
She tends to have that kind of habit. I'm sure Roswin will be fine.
All right, then. Look for you soon again soon. And she'll about face and start walking away a bit and kind of glance over her shoulder and blow a kiss in her cheeky manner and scamper off.
Roll for intimidation.
Well, she's not trying to intimidate him.
In a manner, you are.
Oh, does flirting intimidate him? Is that what's happening here?
Could, yeah.
That's a 9. She's not super intimidating right now.
He just waves back. Okay. Audie, Roz, Lilith, all back to the camp. Does Corone have any extracurriculars worth mentioning?
Not really, no. I think she's just, it's becoming a pattern, but she likes to take her time when eating, when drinking. So she's just going to eventually, be not one of the last ones necessarily, but she'll stay back and she'll take her time and leave when she's ready.
Nice. Okay.
Nothing special.
Mm-hmm. And last but not least, Titan semicolon Lotus.
Yeah, I think Titan and Lotus probably went for a swim.
Nice.
Went over to the river, had a good swim. Probably as the night wears on, cuddling together on the riverbank,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the stars. Lotus is telling Titan some of the stories from the constellations. Just having a nice chill night.
Very nice. Okay. Can I dare assume everyone will inevitably accomplish a long rest?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the
Okay.
plan.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think I don't think anybody has really anything to recover per se, but feel free to take your long rests if necessary.
Joke's on you. You hit me with a really big bomb at the beginning of the day.
Oh yeah, that's the same day, huh? Yeah.
I also used my blood today.
True. Yeah, get some of that blood back. For
And
now.
I think the temp HP from our meal would.
It would
Yeah.
poof. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't get into a street fight in the middle of camp to use it.
Don't get me wrong, I did roll to see if a bar fight would break out. Nothing like bringing new friends together like knocking heads, am I right?
Too right.
I mean, if anybody had booed the black butterfly, there would have been hands thrown for sure.
Them be fighting words. But yeah, the next day will roll around. All of you will get to bed at different respective hours. This is another day of downtime. But you know, there's always the mercenary meeting to casually attend to see what news has been brought back, if any. And downtime otherwise. So how would you all like to spend your day?
Well, Roz, after having a light breakfast of crappy porridge,
Mm-hmm.
this is the day where once we're good and well into the morning, Roz is going to go try to train with the tyrants.
Oh.
'Cause that's a great idea.
Yeah, sure. What could go wrong?
A lot.
Okay. Roz is going to go to the Tyrants.
Audie has her appointment with Riesling in the morning.
You do. So Audie's going to go to the Seductress.
Also, I'm pretty sure there's a cake somewhere in camp.
Not anymore, there's not.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, we did deliver it last night, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah, the Greenwood, the citizens of Greenwood enjoyed cake and the various other food that was overproduced by the Bastion camp. So they likewise got a bunch of jambalaya and whole steamed fish and lobsters and all the vegetables and fruits and all that fun stuff you all enjoyed last night.
Lilith is just going to take it easy in the morning before going to the meeting.
Okay.
I think after the meeting, and double checking with the group that we don't have any pressing matters, Chrono will probably casually begin work on her hat. She's gonna take her time with this. She's not gonna go 8 hours in all day or anything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there is a take 10 rule in the crafting rules. You
Oh really?
Yeah, if you actually wanted to take time. I don't know the exact specifics, but I do know that is a thing.
Hi.
That sounds
Double the time, get an automatic 10.
There you go.
okay. Yeah. Why not? That sounds exactly like what I want to do. So
Yeah, sit back, relax, And yeah, it'll basically guarantee the quality of your crafted good. Dare I assume you're going to tell us what the hat looks like at some point?
Yes. At some point, it'll be drawn on the
Oh.
avatar.
Even better.
Yep.
Okay. Then Titan, do you have any plans for today?
Yeah, so he's going to set up an appointment to see Bandit later in the afternoon or evening, whenever Bandit is more available.
Okay. I believe I can be quoted as saying to somebody else that he is more regularly available towards the tail end of the day. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong.
He said that to
I
Roz.
Perfect.
think that's the information Roz got.
Okay, but that's easy enough done.
Yep, and then Titan's back to work on plate mail for the day.
Okay.
Unless people have things they need from him.
Meanwhile, Roz in the background. No, please go on. That's what I need from you. Okay. Sounds like
I was gonna say,
Go
the meeting everybody was talking about, is that like the noon sit rep
yeah.
with Covert? Okay, just
Yep.
making sure. I was gonna say, at that meeting, Audie would bring up the fact that we've been asked to have a better name than Greenies because
Yeah.
Klein says it's cringe.
Are you just gonna say that in front of everybody at the meeting, or you can just say it amongst yourselves?
She's gonna mention it when we all kind of group up. She's gonna
Okay.
mention it to the group.
Okay, yeah, I thought you were just gonna go there in front of all the other respectable mercenary groups and
Yeah,
just out
right.
yourselves, going, so we actually don't like this name.
No. No, yeah, it's kind of when we group up, because I'm guessing we probably won't really be all together until then.
Likely, possibly.
Unless somebody came and grabbed Titan, he's skipping the meeting.
Yeah, he can get it all secondhand.
That's fair. That's fair. It might make it back to you though, Titan. Then.
Yeah, I mean, Titan's not one for schedules and rules and obeying the law.
Wait, you just kind of slid that one in there. What are you planning on doing later?
I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, he just doesn't care that much, and unless he thinks it's important to attend, he's not going to bother.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh yeah. The day in the Greenwood camp starts out well. While there has been no headway on the permanent domiciles that has been requested of Braun, he has started expanding some of the tents to be more comfortable and accommodating for certain families. Using some of the money given to him and creating more extensive tent frameworks and additional canvas to help expand them, especially for the tents that are housing several kids, like the All Bricks. So you are starting to see slight changes in the surroundings of the camp, but nothing that would seem to be making any grand waves. So it seems as if he's at least gotten a clear with somebody based off of all the conversations people have had about that. Several kids, close to a dozen now, are waking up at sunrise and have joined Covert's class. He is well received. Even though the kids complain about being exhausted, they love talking about what he's teaching. Some kids are taking it more seriously than others, where you'll occasionally see, especially those that are a little bit older, the ones that are kind of just cresting in the double digits, the 11, 12, and 13-year-olds, you'll see several of them even out after class during the rest of the day. They'll spend time practicing with their swords, of which some kids have pretty well refined wooden swords already. Like they spent a lot of time and thought and effort into it, and judging by their craftsmanship, probably with the help of Covert, really gotten an image of the weapon that they want to train with for now. Roz, how early are you heading over to the Tyrants?
Probably like 8 a.m.
Okay. So we'll handle Roz first. Get up, quick breakfast. I'm assuming you're going to go in full gear.
Tatiana did say come back and spar sometime. That's what Roz is planning to do. Full armor.
Okay. What weapons are you bringing with you, or is it just all of them?
The sword and the axe.
Okay. You make your way through the refugee camp. You can tell people are settling into a rhythm. Again, the camp has continued to expand. There's a couple hundred people here now, probably like closer to 500. You make your way through. Things are a bit more orderly, less bleed out from other camps in terms of like tents and fences having been moved or things being squandered. People are getting an idea as to where things belong and how to handle things. You make your way to the center, where you see Covert at his desk. He will give you a casual hand wave as he's dictating something to his unseen servant. The Dusty Daisy down the way, while not quite as busy as it is during the lunch or evening times, still has a good crowd milling about. You see there are several people shopping in the bazaar of the Gilden Rose Merchantry. People that clearly look pretty well off, aka they can afford to spend money there. There's a plethora of noise coming from the craftsman's lane on the northern side of the camp, a lot of which can be often heard as shouting between craftsmen from different area with different ideologies and different habits and preferences. And there's always a constant grading going on there, but eventually you make your way to the other side of the camp where the mercenaries are homed. And you walk down the lane, and you look to your left, and you see the entrance to the Bastion camp, where you can tell they have been up early, and several are already training in the open field that they have in the center of their camp. And then your attention is snapped to the Tyrants camp, where two of the Tyrants are currently having a spar. And quite in contrast to the last time you saw two Tyrants spar, which were quite agile fighters, this one is an agile fighter versus a much heavier fighter. But it seems even though the heavier fighter's agility might not be the same match for them, their ability to perceive the movements and counterattack appropriately is keeping them well and alive. You'll kind of crest the edge, just passing by the entrance to the Bastion's camp, your attention drawn by the combat. And then almost as if it is unavoidable, there's a point where your eyes cross over on the battle and one of the combatants moves, and behind it is Tatiana, and her eyes are already locked on you.
Yeah.
Just like before, she will give you a come hither.
Well, Roz is coming.
You enter into the camp. The two Tyrants clearly don't pay you any mind. They keep fighting intensely. There's an occasional spatter and streak of blood that you see stain the dirt and the sand. Off to the side where Tatiana is, she is in the same spot she's always in when she's observing, which is half propped up on this one wooden crate. Just to the side of her, about 2-3 yards away, there are two other Tyrants. One has their arms crossed. A very, very broad, heavily muscled dwarf who has this intricate iron and ruby jewelry kind of pierced into his skin along his arms and biceps. Standing next to him is a what looks like to be a water half giant. Similarly, kind of relaxing, leaning on a pole arm, using it as kind of a rest. They're both garbed in what look like casual clothes, but everything here in the tyrant's camp is, just basically somewhere on a slider from white to black, with silver embellishments. And they're clearly watching the spar and making observations and talking amongst themselves. Tatiana will, of course, wait for you to get within probably arm's reach, as seems to be the area in which she expects you to arrive, and has been so far whenever she's spoken to you first. And when you do, she will give you a smile, but unlike the smiles you've received recently, this is that of an apex predator. Took you long enough to come back. Did you have any success in feeding the sword?
Well, I did do battle with it, but the creatures that I fought didn't have blood, so I don't think so.
Did you have an opportunity to draw blood?
I didn't get into a battle where blood could be drawn. No.
You do know all you're doing is spending more time not growing, not getting stronger.
With absolute respect, my lady, since the last time we talked, I've had time for one mission.
And there wasn't a single adversary that you could draw blood from.
No, we agreed as a party to bypass all the adversaries that did have blood.
So you could have.
In theory, if I was willing to go off without my party.
So you're being cautious.
I suppose. But more than that, I'm trying to be respectful of them and their wishes.
And how did the mission go? Everyone come out unscathed? Everyone fine?
For the most part, yes. Maybe a little less than in one case.
And in that case, how close was it?
To death?
Mm-hmm. How close was it before you would have regretted not doing something more? How narrow was the margin that you danced around?
I don't really know.
And that's a problem. Because not only did you not know where the margin was, it could have snuck up on you. And it cost you the life of someone that you're fighting with. And now everyone's weaker for it. And before long, the next one falls. And the next one. Why are you so afraid to strengthen yourself if it means keeping your comrades alive?
I'm not afraid to strengthen myself. Roz is kind of looking at Tatiana and the bodyguards on either side of her and trying really hard to project confidence. And it's definitely a mediocre confidence. I do want to be better. There were 10 Mercurians in the battle, and I took on 6 of them. I did my part. I couldn't do better than that.
Now consider the next time you go out. Between your arrival back from fighting these Mercurians, and the next time you go out, have you had a chance to do anything with the sword? Have you had a chance to have it grow with you, to understand yourself better? Because then, when you go on your next mission and you're faced with yet another challenge, have you grown by then? Have you become any stronger? Or will another challenge, even worse than the one you faced there, arrive? Then what will you do?
My lady, I'll do what I always do. Fight. It's all I know how to do in conflict.
And is that going to be a satisfactory answer for you when the people you're fighting with begin dying?
No. No, it won't.
Then do something more. Go on, say it. Release your frustrations. You think I'm going to be offended by a child screaming at me? Or is it the only thing you can do right now because I'm pushing you is fight back? Do you want to fight, Roswin?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Then pick your opponent and draw your weapon.
Oh, no. Oh, this is where Roz does something really stupid. She sees 3 people in front of her.
And the 2 sparring.
Uh-huh. We see Roz is a dumb young woman.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gonna point at Tatiana herself. Fine. You want to see what I'm made of? Come kick my ass about it.
She stands up off the crate. Boots land on the dirt. She is still only, as has been the habit of hers so far, wearing basically just greaves and boots, and the rest of her, like the 2 observing, are just kind of wearing casual clothes. But her giant sword is still nearby. She drops to the ground. And without even speaking a word, both of those that were sparring cease in an instant. It is startling how snappy they are to freezing from what they were doing. And they both step aside.
You know, Roz knows this was a mistake, but she's damn sure not backing out. She's gonna get into the ring with her axe.
Tatiana stands there for a moment, about a half a heartbeat, and then she reaches over and grabs the hilt to her giant sword. Since you've opted not to use a training weapon, I will do the same. And she hefts it into the air, resting the crossguard on one shoulder, and walks down into the center of the ring. I'll let you have the first attack, Roswin.
Oh boy. Oh my goodness, I can't even make this up. Roz actually hit her. She got a 20. That's not going to go well for her.
Modified or just on the die?
On the die, natural 20.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Yeah, roll your damage.
She does 20 damage.
Okay. Tatiana stands there. She has her weapon. She gives you the first attack, to which you take it. You brandish your great axe and you charge at her. She seems impassible, like a statue. But you'll take her arrogance, and you swing the weapon and you drive it home. It strikes her clavicle. And even though you swung with all of your might, it connects with her, but then you're surprised when the axe rebounds off of her as well. The part of her clothing on that side has been severed, and so it's kind of doing the droopy shoulder bit. And there is a line where you've cut her, and a slight trickle of blood. She looks at you with this flat, straight-lined expression, and she swings her weapon. You're AC 17, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I thought I'd ask. It just seems like rubbing salt in the wound. Hang on, I'm just going to find some D10s.
Multiple.
Several, in fact, yes. No, they're never there when you need them. Plus 26. All right. You catch her with this blow. It rebounds off her clavicle. You have this small mark left on her where she bleeds. She immediately retaliates. This enormous weapon seems to be swung like it weighs a fraction of its weight, like she's swinging your great axe. And it comes at you like just a galloping horse, and it catches you right in your ribs and your side. And the weight is so powerful, it throws you from the sparring ring. You take 36 points of damage, and
That's all of Roz's hit points.
And you are thrown 15 feet. Wait, was that really exactly how much HP you had? Oh, you had 33.
No, Roz has 33.
Okay. I did roll pretty well. Yeah, the blow connects. You realize the savageness as it connects, and you are thrown. Your consciousness fades while you're midair, and when you connect to the earth, you black out.
If I may, if it comes back to Roz's turn, does she get that much time?
What are you trying to do?
Use some hero points to get back up like a dumbass so she can get knocked down again.
You actually, normally I would say you're welcome to. What is it all at the start of your turn?
Yeah, start of your turn. Spend number of hit dice up to your proficiency bonus. Roll, regain hit points as normal.
Yeah. You could technically stand back up if you were to be so persistent.
Nothing if not stubborn. Yeah, Roz gets back up. Heals for 14, 18, 22 hit points.
You're at 22, you say?
Yeah, now, after standing up. Why, is she going to hit me again?
She does, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you're coming back to, you're struggling your way back up to your feet, leaning on the great axe, and the second blow just hammers you back down. She is not pulling any punches. Luckily, it doesn't kill you. Some time goes by. You're not certain how long. and you find yourself starting awake in a cot. You have been stripped of your armor, and you find yourself currently heavily bandaged. Somewhere outside, very nearby, you hear the sounds of fighting.
Well, if no one's in the cot or no one's watching Roz right now, she's gonna try to get up and go see who it is that's fighting.
Okay.
There's two groups this could be.
Well, you get up, and it hurts a lot. You suspect you have several broken ribs and an indeterminate amount of internal bleeding. And it's a little hard to breathe. I will allow you just to straight up struggle through that if you so desperately want to get up because of Roz's stubborn nature. No
Roz
roll
is
required.
Very stubborn. I'll even gain a little bit of hit points back from a second wind to see how well she struggles through it.
Okay.
5.
Now do me something really important. Just roll a percentile die.
Yeah. 73.
Okay. You get up. Your surroundings are a little fuzzy. Your head is swimming. You have a throbbing headache. Everything in your abdomen hurts, and there are an occasional spiky shot of pain that you're feeling. You get up and you leave the tent, pushing the flap aside. And outside, you see there are currently 4 people fighting. Individuals not unfamiliar to you. They are battling currently with large wooden tower shields with long-handled weapons. You find yourself in the Bastion camp.
Yeah, that's about what I expected.
And then you hear a voice immediately come from your right. You should go lie back down.
Roz is going to slowly and painstakingly turn her head to see who it is.
Lucius in full plate armor, but his helmet is tucked under one arm.
I'm fine.
No, you're not. Didn't I tell you not to lie? You're bleeding through your bandages right now.
Yeah, well, I'm standing, aren't I?
Barely. You know we had to extract bits of your armor out from inside of you before we could actually close your wounds.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Why are you fighting so much to go back to bed and rest?
Because Roz kind of turns away from him, looks across the field to Tatiana's camp. I've got a lot to prove, and clearly I haven't tried hard enough yet.
That approval matters that much too?
Yeah. I need everyone to approve of me. I have to be good. I have to be great. Nothing else is acceptable.
You're going to fail at that mission.
That's kind of hurtful.
You're never going to get everyone's approval. You will never succeed. There's always going to be someone that will refuse to give it to you.
Why? I
What? Do you want to be a hero, Roz? You think everyone will sing your praises if you go and do great deeds, win wars, save people?
Is that such a bad thing to want? I'm trying to scream, but that's as loud as I can get.
No, it's not bad. I've done both. But the problem is you're standing on one side. The other side, the one that you're fighting against, even if they're your enemies then, they're ancestors down the line. They will only curse your name. You will never get everyone's approval. You have to decide how you want to be your own hero, Roz.
Was it you who came and got me from the tyrant's camp?
I'm the one that had to stop Tatiana from killing you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. All it did was damage my shield before we leave for the mission.
I have no way to repay you for that.
Genuinely, you don't. Unfortunately, no smith here could repair it.
I'm sorry that my recklessness got something that you really care about damaged.
Someone's life is worth it. And while I think you've made dumb decisions that forced me to do it, my sister asked me to. Now, if you really don't want to worry her, you should go lie back down and at least take a nap. Your wounds will heal up a bit better by then, if everything you've said drunkenly last night is true.
Yeah, all right. Thank you again.
Thank my sister when you see her next.
And Roz will turn around, go back to bed.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Melody. Okay, you muted.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, so Audie would she would kind of wake up, standard morning,
Mhm.
eat, and make her way over to the seductress.
Mm-hmm. For your appointed meeting time.
Correct. About mid-morning, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Roughly 9 a.m. Yeah. You head your way over there. You go through the heavy satin tint flaps. Enter into the cool, welcoming darkness, of which you arrive at the foyer with the single podium and the two double curtains, and seemingly always present, Balweir. Miss Melody, welcome. The mistress is expecting you. And
She
he will
gives a bit of
immediately
a
turn.
smile and a nod. Mhm.
If you have something to say, you can.
Nope, just her greeting in kind, and would follow him in.
Okay. Yeah. He offers you an arm to take and then guides you through the threshold. You step through out on the other side into the lounge area that you've been to previously once before. In this large rectangular sunken in sitting area with large plush cushions and pillows, a center table cut from the same stone of the walls, black with these white and silver veins running through it. And sitting there, dressed in a tight-fitting black dress with a cut up the side that is excessively revealing, red, long flowing red hair, and a coy smile plastered on her face is Rieslin. She just with a fanciful dancing hand gestures for you to take a seat. Welcome, Melody. I heard you wanted to speak with me.
Yes, I did. Thought it'd be weeks before I got to see you. But, pleasantly surprised.
Well, I always have time for one of my most dedicated customers.
Audie gives a bit of a smirk and a grin.
I've only been here twice. That doesn't say much for dedication at the rest of the camp. Should work on that.
I value all of my customers.
And she concedes that with a nod.
So, Valware told me you had an interest in learning our ways. Is that true?
That is true. I thought it might have been just a passing interest, a passing fancy. But I got to talk to Muse a little bit. And I'd be quite interested.
Muse is good at bringing out that part of people.
I don't
Melody.
think she coerced me.
No, we don't do that here. But if I might ask, what is it you want out of this? If we were to come to an agreement.
That is what this conversation is meant to be about. I might have the wrong idea after all.
Well, then allow me to rephrase the question. What is it you think we do here?
I think you get to know people. I think in some ways it might be a bit more based than that. Some people just want pleasure.
And she pauses and then thinks about it a little longer.
But I don't mean physical pleasure. Clearly it's a house of all things enjoyable.
We certainly do aim to please. Allow me to speak plainly, Melody. This place, we provide services and companionship to those that can afford it. We likewise provide niceties and comfort, places to stay and to rest, safety. But we likewise use all of that to gather information. We get to know people because knowing people is power. And with power allows us to keep ourselves safe. There wasn't always such a time that there was such a generous and watchful title bearer keeping an eye out for the likes of us. And likewise, we have an opportunity to share with those our information. It is as much a weapon as our ability to bring peace, comfort, and pleasure to others is.
I suppose it makes me a mite foolish if that doesn't matter to me, does it? Not safety, I mean, safety clearly matters, but the information, I mean. Philosophy's a little different, but I'm starting to think maybe I'm a bit naive about that.
Every place does it differently. This is just how I do things here. And it does not matter so much if you don't care about the information, only that you would be capable of obtaining it. In such a way that you could still learn here, as long as what we give you is met with what we ask. A means to an end, if you will.
I mean this in the most polite way possible. Do you manage it by coercion? Or is it forthwith information? People will say a lot of things when they're relaxed.
As I've already said, Melody, we don't do coercion here. We don't intimidate. Our information is gathered from those that offer it to us.
Well, then I suppose in a manner of speaking, it's a means to my own ends then too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to know the world, as much of it as I can. And eventually the world comes to you. My dad taught me about the old title bearers. I wasn't alive for it, but I know that the dancer didn't always govern.
No, it is quite new, as a matter of fact. And more of a matter of the Day of Judgment changing how things worked as well. And besides, Melody, if you would consider, if you were to spend time here learning our trade and learning how to apply it, you could likewise use that opportunity to gather information for you and your friends and the things you are doing, to learn about people that perhaps you think are lost.
And she sits and ponders a bit.
Valware delivers a drink.
Mm-hmm.
What would it mean anyway? If I were to learn?
Well, simply put, you would have to spend your free time here with us. We would see where your strengths and talents lie, help you refine them, and then you, like the other courtesans, would provide companionship to those that come. And in the process of that, and getting to know people, you learn things about them, where they've been, who they've seen, who they've talked to, things they've purchased, things they've seen other people purchase, etc., so on and so forth. And you report that back to us. But that process is, well, could be explained later if you so decide to stay. We pay money to those that work here. Everyone is completely independent if they so choose to be. We provide lodging, food, training, and of course information where necessary. I know it is often something that is said amongst groups, and it sometimes comes off as dishonest, but here we are in fact a family. I take care of all of my courtesans like they're my children. And I love and adore them. And I spoil them. And I help them grow and I help them learn. And I make sure that they never want for anything. And if one chooses to leave, I will support them in that decision as well. But of course, such things cannot be promised to a person that has just come in asking about what we do.
I imagine it'd take me a bit to earn my place. If this is somewhere I decide I want to stay.
She gives you a nod and then takes a sip from her glass of wine.
How did I say it's fair we call it training?
That is an adequate word, yes. Do you have? Go ahead.
Audie will kind of give a bit of a nod, like she's kind of grasping the conversation.
Mm-hmm. You can think on it if you need. No need to commit to anything just now.
Could I tell Val then?
Be my guest.
I'm pretty decided, but best to be certain. I give myself a day to think about it.
Well, I'm certainly not going to keep you. I will keep myself available for when you've made your decision and you wish to come and let me know.
At that, Audie would rise and give a bit of a bow and a curtsy, and venture back out. Although I'm guessing Val would actually have to be there to
He's
get her.
ready to get up and you bow and you curtsy and then you turn till he's right behind you.
Mm-hmm.
He sort of reverse Batmans you when he's just suddenly there without making a noise. But yeah, he will sweep aside, offer you an arm, and then escort you back out. Thank you for visiting, Miss Melody. We look forward to your return.
I'm sure it'll be sooner than I imagine. And she'll head out.
Have a good day. And you leave.
Mhm.
Okay. Just for future, where is Ward Melody be heading after this? Any plans?
No plans really. Again, she likes to keep up on her training, but she kind of has a lot to think about, so she might go sit by the river for a bit, or just
Okay.
kind of wander camp.
Yeah, go, go kick rocks. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Our two crafts people. Well, actually, I suppose mostly it's just checking in with you, Zhao, and Corona, since you're going to be taking your time.
Mhm.
Honestly, it's one of those you can just track that yourself if you're so keen on it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Seems pretty simple.
yeah.
Our
It's
timeline here.
yeah, it's 2 checks and a DC of 8. You have the materials already,
Hmm.
so if you just double the time for either of those, you could literally take the day and make a hat.
That's what the time doubled? Okay.
Well, it's 2 checks, right? And each check is 2 hours.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So if you were to double it, assumedly it would take 8 hours.
Okay. Well, she's probably not going to take the 8 hours. We'll say that she'll take like 4 today.
4?
If that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's really taking her time with it.
Okay. All right. In which case, our other craftsperson, Titan, back at the forge.
I mean, how many checks depends on how long till the meeting with Bandit.
It's later.
Full 8 hours.
It's later in the evening. If Titan went there, sometime in the early morning.
Yeah.
Like if I don't know, when do you think Titan started working?
Probably around 9 a.m.
9. Okay. You would have basically been told Bandit would be available to sit and have a pretty open conversation anytime after 6 p.m.
Okay.
So you could set it up to get all 8 hours, or you could have a little less.
I think he'd do 6 hours and then spend about 2 hours studying the book that Bandit gave him.
Okay. In which case, 3 checks.
3 checks.
Big money, no whammies. I just realized this is kind of like just gambling for plate armor.
It kind of is gambling for plate armor. That's a good comparison. Are you stats? Right, I have to do the math myself. Oh.
8, I think, is what your modifier is.
Spend some inspiration on that and get a better roll. Here we go. Yeah, 18 on that one.
Yep, that'll do it.
First check.
1 success.
17 for the second one.
Ooh, just barely, but 2 successes.
There we go. A 20 something for the third one.
3 successes.
Okay, 3 successes. Here,
we're closing in.
We're closing in. Brings us to 8. 14, and then another 2 hours on Bandit's book, which gives me 6 hours total.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay. With Titan working at the forge, I believe this is the number I've been repeating over and over again. Don't forget to subtract your forge rental fee of 3 silver.
Oh, yep. Do that.
And then more notably, for Lilith, who was waiting for the noon mercenary meeting. Well, hang on. So let's roll that back real quick, because a lot of people are in transit. Would Melody care about that?
Yeah, I think she's interested, especially after finding out that, maybe her brother's name was on one of the lists. She's interested in at least hearing about it. She wouldn't have much to share.
Okay.
And she'd probably take a glance over any new missions that are available to
Mhm.
bring them back to camp for the night.
Okay. Yeah. So Melody will go. Roz, you hear some while you're that state of like taking a quick nap and you're kind of in and out of it. You're near the tail end of it when you hear members of the Bastion camp clearly getting ready. And getting ready to depart. It'd be enough of a cue for you to perhaps realize where they're leaving to. Would Roz have any interest in attending?
Oh yeah, and if no one stops her, she's gonna go there, bloody bandages and all.
Yep. I mean, it's
Try
not
to
like
gather her armor and weapons if she can.
yeah,
whatever it
your armor is in a sack.
Yeah, it's about expected.
Yeah. Likewise, a bit bloodstained. And it jingles like a bag of coins.
Well, that's gonna need to get repaired.
Yeah, your weapon, your axe is present, your sword is not.
That's also to be expected.
Yeah. That was actually kind of explicitly told to you at one point. And he'd have to kill you to get the sword back.
Well, Roz isn't dead.
Yeah, someone stood in the way.
Well, Roz will just take the axe and the bag that contains her armor. The meeting.
Mm-hmm. You exit the tent, all your stuff kind of slung over a shoulder, carrying your axe in the other hand. You'll see Lucius on the other side of the camp, like clearly about ready to leave. He has his helmet on despite the heat. He'll see you and he'll just give you a nod, just acknowledge you, but he makes any kind of movement to stop you. You have had a short rest. Feel free to do with that as you will.
Great. Well, I'll gain a little bit more health.
Mm-hmm.
6 more.
And then you are free to limp to the meeting.
Limp she shall.
Is Corona going to be there, Joe?
This is for the evening meeting.
The noon meeting.
The noon meeting. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's never gonna miss one of those if she can.
Okay.
If she can avoid that.
Okay. Eventually, you all go to the center of the camp where Covert's desk awaits. Several mercenary groups are there in representation, including a couple of groups that have been cobbled together from the refugee side, and they're looking a bit more put together than the last few times you guys have had meetings. There are a few very distinct individuals that have all now standing together with slightly less uniform armor than perhaps the official groups on the other side of camp, but clearly groups, units, people, ready and prepared to try to do their part. And the four of you will eventually run into one another, for better or worse.
Oh, it looks like it's just the three of us today. Oh, great dark beyond what happened to Roz.
Fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, I won't.
Fine.
This is as loud as I can talk, but I am fine.
Right. You look like you fell into the meat pit.
No, I got hit with a very big sword. At least twice. I think twice.
Did you go to the tyrants?
Yes, I did. And I no longer have my longsword.
Well, I am at least happy you're alive.
Much
Thanks.
said on that one.
I'm having a bad day, so I'm hoping for good news.
All right. a lot of mercenaries have gathered. Eventually, you'll see Covert standing on his stage, where his desk is. He'll clear his voice, and you'll see a little flare of magic, and his voice projects. Everyone, thank you for gathering together today. Just some quick reports to bring in. First of all, we've had a significant amount of people moved into the camp. Acknowledgement for those that have signed up and are serving alongside all of us today. Please, if you have an opportunity, introduce yourselves, meet, greet, make friends, please. It'll keep everyone alive longer. Report from the war front. The automatons continue to push. Battles are being slowly and painfully lost. Because they have the ability to rebuild their soldiers when they've won a battlefield. They can recover their units versus our side does not have that leisure. So with that in mind, several missions that are going to be posted are direct sabotage and infiltration efforts to hurt the opposing side's ability to rebuild and build anew. So if any of you have a significant bone to pick with those that started this war and have taken things from you, this is your chance to bite them back for once. The general reports I've received so far from other groups, there hasn't been anything significant. Be aware that there was a Mercurian portal somewhere nearby, about a day's travel from here. Make note that if you encounter one, if you are unable to deal with it with the current abilities and skills within your group, be very mindful that it is extremely lethal. Leave it alone, come back as soon as possible and report that, and we will send a team to deal with it. The one that is currently been assigned to has been sent to the Immortal Bastion's responsibility, and they are departing as soon as this meeting comes to a close. And the Immortal Bastion is in full attendance, all garbed in their plate mail with their hulking tower shields, with Lucius at the front and his sister Lucilla standing next to him. Breastplate, greaves, with a sword and a short sword on the other hip. It's weird seeing her equipped for such a different facet than just however she's been in the camp, which has been fairly normal. Seeing her in this light, she has a different air. All right, moving on from there. Just one report from a returning group. The League of Phantoms and their representative, Carl. Carl, please take it away. Hi, everyone. I'm Carl. I'm glad to be here. Nice to meet you all. He turns and waves to the other groups that have recently come together. We discovered at the camp with the healing herbs that we were supposed to steal, that they were using labor taken from the various towns that have been overthrown, some relatives and people, families that are here, amongst other camps, with collars attached to them that are dangerous. We were sent in to further investigate, try to gather names and information and movements, if anything like that. We discovered that the farming operation is coming to a close. They are not looking to replant. They are harvesting and then burning the field, so it can't be recovered by anyone else during the war effort. Likewise, they're going to be moving the group of war prisoners to another location to continue labor in a different place. We are uncertain as to whether or not they will stay together or be moved apart in different groups. However, we were able to patrol the local area and essentially found that there are 3 routes passing through that area. And we believe if we can find a crew suitable enough to disarm the collars that are attached to them, that there is a chance we could intercept them on the road to recover the groups of the people that are being transferred to their new locations in transit when their security will be most relaxed. So we will be putting forward a official request to have a collaboration between the League of Phantoms and a group or two of others, preferably those capable of fighting and ambush tactics, along with anybody mechanically and magically minded to help us disable the collar. There is currently one example that we've managed to bring back. Covert has it. He's going to be interviewing people to try to figure out the best possible candidates to do that. That's all the League of Phantoms has to report. Thank you. I'm Carl. Thank you for your time. And he steps back. All right. If anything that Carl said resonates with you, either between the skills that they've observed to be necessary to make that mission work, or if you really just have a real powerful need to go bash in some bots, come talk to me afterwards, and we can talk about mission assignments and danger. Otherwise, if there's nothing else to report, and he looks around real quick. No one says anything. All right. Thank you all for showing up. This mission is this briefing is closed. Usual pamphlets will be and reports will be sent around with relevant information to keep you up to date. If you have any questions, feel free to speak to me. If there are any new mercenaries, feel free to come talk to the trainers. Those that have been rude to newcomers have been thoroughly talked to. And you see him look over towards a couple of groups off the side of his podium. All right, thank you. Everyone, good luck. Stay safe. And he hops down off of his stand. You know, people come to talk to him. He has a few conversations here or there. What are you all doing?
Bleeding, mostly.
Yeah, that's fair. That's true. That's just a fact.
Should we take a look at the details of each mission? I kind of want to look at those colors, see if I can do anything about them.
I was thinking the same about the colors. I don't think I can make them bleed, but I might have some ideas.
We'll
Have
have to let,
fun with that.
we'll have to let Titan know too. I mean, if any of us can, he could probably disable them. Now that we have one to actually look at.
That's fair. I'm sure you'd also like to hear that there's missions going out to beat them.
Guess we wait in line to see Covert.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, doesn't take very long. A couple of minutes. I say he's pretty quick and concise, and he works his way through a couple of groups. Eventually, he'll make eye contact with you as he's departing with the last group, and he'll come on over, clipboard in hand, unseen servant trailing behind him with another. All right, Greenies, how are all you doing?
It really is taking hold in.
Been better.
What happened to you?
Oh, Tiana.
You made a really bad enemy.
I don't know if I'm important enough to be her enemy.
That's probably true.
I think she views me as dirt, and she took my sword, and I don't matter to her anymore.
That is rough, but you didn't die. That's a bonus.
Well, you can thank that big guy over there with the dents in his shield now.
Ooh, that is nasty. Yeah. When you finally catch a glance of his tower shield that he's carrying with him, all of you can see now that this conversation sort of happened. You can observe at it. This tower shield is basically a small section of a wall. It is taller than he is by about a foot, and it is probably about a foot thick. It seems completely improbable and impossible to move. But when he does, he hefts it up with one arm and carries it forward at a steady pace. it is dense. There is a gash cut straight through about 2/3 of the way up, and there's actually a spot in the shield that is just right through it. Oh, all right. That is not going to be cheap to fix.
No, it won't.
Yeah. Well, at least you've probably made some lifelong friends now. That's something.
I don't know about that.
A lifelong debt, perhaps, then?
Sounds more like it.
Hmm.
Can we focus on something else?
Yeah, right. Did anything I say during the meeting pique anyone's interest?
I'm interested in looking at that collar.
Yeah, you and a lot of other people. Where do your skills lie?
I can know quite a bit about Arcana, and I'm just generally pretty good at looking into things. And give me a night, and I can be good at a lot of different things.
Right. I didn't think your family had a background in, like, tinkering.
Not really, no.
Yeah,
But
all right. Here,
I read a lot of books.
I'll save everyone the trouble of volunteering what they're able to do. So the collar has 3 particular facets that are a problem. So the basic one, which there are plenty of people capable of doing, which is the locking mechanism that needs to be undone. It's sophisticated. It's a gnome lock, so it's tough, but can be done. The problem is that it is meant to be tamper-proof by the other 2 layers. The interior part of the lock is attached to a mechanical device on the inside of the collar that, when it is tampered, will automatically trigger the collar. 2, it is then doubly reinforced by a magical series of magical runes that essentially, if not enacted upon by an individual carrying a corresponding piece of equipment that will acknowledge the user, will detonate it. I know this because we had 2 collars. Now we only have 1. So, if amongst your people you think you have those who are smart enough to help crack this, we can arrange something and you can have a look at them. Otherwise, I know at the very least some of you would be more than capable of helping deal with the ambush section of that mission, if you still want to be a part of it.
Wouldn't that mean you need somebody with the right type on the other side?
Technically, part of the problem we're trying to solve.
So we need to kidnap the right person.
That is one possible solution, yeah.
Or hope that the people escorting that we're ambushing have the means to unlock the collars.
It is a hope, but not one we are relying on. We are trying to figure out a way so that we can just start to finish disable the collars without needing the other side of the technology. Because if we have to rely on that and we don't find it, then, well, those people's lives are, finished. So...
I'm not much of a tinkerer, but I'm pretty sure Titan is. I'll let him know.
I've got my dad's tools. I'm not as good as he was, but he told me a bit.
All right. Well, I know Titan's been working with that forge for a while recently. If you all want to come talk to me a little bit later, you know where to find me. He jabs his thumb over at the desk.
And then, other than that, just a bunch of jobs for sabotaging their military efforts.
Yeah. So we've got the specific one about trying to recapture the war prisoners. We have one that is going to sabotage an independent mining camp on the northern continent. And then there's another one that is attacking one of the production facilities that creates one of the lower level automatons. These are all fairly dangerous. Just so I'm being upfront with all of you. We do have some things on the more mundane side, if that is a preference, though. There's always work to be done.
Just getting our options. We'll have to talk it over with everyone first.
Okay. Well, when you come visit me tonight, I'll write up a little billet for you to let you know of the other things in case you guys decide to veer off. And Roz, do you need to go see a healer, maybe?
No, I'm fine. I do need an armor, though, because Roz will kind of struggle for a second, then hold up the sack containing her armor. I need more armor before I can go out into the field.
Yeah, you definitely do. Well, you know where to buy it. Worst case, like I said, Titan's been plunking away at that forge.
Yeah.
Maybe he could fix it. And if there's any emergencies, just feel free to double back. I can, we can trade a favor for a favor in case you all need something.
Right. Well, Lilith is going to reach for the sack containing Roz's armor. I'll go deliver this to Titan because you look like you can barely stand.
Titan's doing enough. It's fine. I'll find someone else. Hell, I can do it.
Roz, you need rest.
Fuck off. I don't need rest. I need to do something.
Nah,
You need to do
rest.
something that won't further injure your body.
Fine. I'll try.
Before you go, though, that sword was special to you, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rorkin gave it to me. It was supposed to be a gift, and well, I fucked that up.
Sounds like they're not planning to give it back.
I have no idea. I was conscious with it at my side, and then I was unconscious, and it was gone.
Hmm.
Right, well, I'm gonna go try to lie down and let my rib heal.
Lilith is going to go to inform Titan of stuff and things. Essentially, just give him the recap while he's working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well then we can assume the whole party is informed. I will write up your official mission options for this week. I suppose because we're at the end of the usual finish time. Anything that needs to be said or made note of prior to us finishing?
No, I'll just say it out loud for the audience. Guys, bring me along if we're going to confront her about getting the sword back. I may have solutions to the blood thing.
Well, I'll say Corona is planning to go there, but she's not really going to ask other people to come along. So Titan might have to be like, "Oh, dang, I should probably check in on that and come on in, like
Okay.
midway through."
Okay.
For what it is
See
worth,
how it goes next time, I guess.
Yeah.
For what it is worth, Alula did tell Titan that about what happened to Roz because she is concerned about Roz's health and well-being at the moment.
There's
And
no way
and
word
Titan is
isn't.
her doctor.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I just need to know, is Corona like going straight there after that meeting? Just so I can understand where we're timelining things.
I guess it is evening, huh?
Oh, wait, so the meeting
Yeah.
finishes at noon.
Mid afternoon.
Or sorry, I keep saying evening. Yeah, at afternoon. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy.
Yep.
Next session's gonna be fun. Okay then. If no one has any other further comments or concerns to raise right now, I mean, probably there's plenty of concerns to raise, but if there's nothing else,
Nothing from me.
okay.
Nothing till next time.
Till
Oh, it's
next
gonna be
time.
fun.
It's gonna be something. Yeah. Well, hey, we're finished. Again, dragged on a little there because I could. We're done. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for playing. I enjoy this every week, and I hope to keep doing it for many more weeks. And yeah. Unlike these guys next week, in your life going forward, and to the best of your ability, try to make good choices. And we'll see you next time. Okay, where we're going?
I don't know. Everybody I usually go to are not online.
Oh, I mean, that
that's a
happens.
good point.
That happens sometimes.
I was not prepared. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Hey, you've just been so Johnny on the spot lately that I just sort of assumed. Let's go quickly, go see if there's someone worth raiding. Wow, yeah, I really, no, you're not even kidding. I have no one online that I would normally go raid.
There's somebody who I enjoyed their gameplay that I follow, but it's not within the D&D space, which we try and keep to. Kind of spread the love in the TTRPG space.
It's fine. It's just
Okay.
1 week where we don't get to. That's okay.
Do you want me to read them then?
I don't know what I was saying okay to. Whether or not we would
Yeah,
not
that's what I
do
was
it
asking,
or
if
what.
no raider.
It's really awkward that we're dragging
It's
this out
hard
this
to
long.
skip a raid.
Yeah.
We don't have to
Um,
raid.
We're gonna raid purely cold-blooded.
I
They're
guess
playing Spyro.
I guess we're going there.
Enjoy.
Or we went there.
Thanks for hanging out, chat. You guys are the best.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Oh, there we go.
We're free.
We're free.
We're free.
So anyway, I feel like the fly getting swatted.
Mm.
That was great. No one agrees.